mailbag time here on Seahawks Today. This comes from our Wednesday live shows where the folks interact with us and send us their super chats, and they use hashtag Seahawks, and we answer their questions in real time. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with this week's mailbag. We begin with a $5 super chat from Virgil. Virgil writes in, I want my chant. We did the Seahawks chant for Virgil. Says, do you think Mike Macdonald tries to work it out with Jamal Adams? Maybe he can tap into that wasted potential. I would guess, and I'm trying to think if I was Mike Macdonald here in this case, I want to wipe my hands clean of Jamal Adams. That was Pete's guy. That's Pete's problem. That's not mine. If I'm Mike Macdonald, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, you know what? We're letting go of Jamal Adams. He's not on my team. We're just going to say sayonara and kind of just push him aside of sorts. That's what I would do. Wipe my hands clean, count your losses, and move on there. I would be surprised if Jamal Adams is on this Seahawks team in 2024. A little challenge that we get going all this week here on Seahawks Today. We're trying to get to 50,000 subs before the Super Bowl. So the bosses want to know, can we get 50 subs off today's show? They tell me that if we don't get to 50,000 subs before the Super Bowl, we might have to start putting out Niners videos one day a week. Don't let that happen. Subscribe now for the latest happenings in your favorite team. Join us for our next mailbag on our live shows, daily news and rumors, Q&As, trades, draft, NFL for agency, and more. Subscribe now for free. You'll be glad you did. Doug writes in. Doug, great show on Nickelodeon. I will not be watching the Nickelodeon Super Bowl broadcast, though. Says, do you think we end up drafting defense in the first round since we have Coach Macdonald? Doug, glad you asked. Think about this. Okay, you go with a defensive-minded head coach. You would think they want to go more towards defense. The way the board works out for Seattle at 16, I think that your priority on offense would be hopefully finding your next quarterback, right? But 16 is a tough spot. You're probably not going to get the quarterback you would like at 16. So I would lean more towards defense. We did a mock draft video this week on the channel, and that's kind of how the board worked out. So it's not impossible that they draft offense, but I think it's more likely just based on how the board works that they go defense. Spencer writes in, should we trade up for Williams? How much? Referring to Caleb Williams, and the answer is hell no. No, Spencer, we're definitely not. It's going to cost you at least 3 first-round picks, maybe more. And so you mortgage your future at that point. I like Caleb Williams as a prospect. I think that he's as close to a sure thing as you can get. But I don't like his leadership intangibles. I don't like him crying to mommy in the stands, painting his fingernails and doing all that stuff. That's not who I want leading my locker room and giving up everything. If I'm Chicago, I'd take him. That's fine at 1. But I'm not giving up 3 or 4, whatever his first-round picks to move up and then not be able to bring any players to build around him. So it's a no for me, dog. Smitty's Burner writes in from graduation day. What does the Mike Macdonald hire mean for Geno Smith's future in Seattle? So when the hiring was made, we heard from Mike Macdonald say that he thinks Geno's a good quarterback, that he respects him, that he's faced off against him. Kind of said about everything except that he was committed to Geno Smith. And then, taking it a step further, Geno, if you recall, was not John Schneider's guy. He was Pete's guy. Pete was the one who was always going to bat for Geno Smith, not John Schneider. And John Schneider, if you look back a few weeks ago when the season ended, kind of threw Geno under the bus. I would think there's a greater than 50% chance Geno is back next year, but he's not the long-term answer for Mike Macdonald or John Schneider. He's not their guy they're riding or dying with for the long run. I think he's back, but it's on a short time frame of sorts. Should the Seahawks bring back Geno Smith next season? It's our pinned comment today. Let us know what you think. HY for hell, yes. HN for hell, no. What do you think? Should they bring back Geno or not? Weigh in the comment section. Let us know what you think. Today's show is sponsored by GameTime. GameTime, the place to go for tickets to sporting events, concerts, theater productions, comedy shows, and more. The best seats, the lowest prices, guaranteed. Here's how it works. You download GameTime today and use the promo code Seahawks Chat for $20 off your first purchase. Maybe you want to go to a Kraken game and you find the game you want to go to. They got the prices listed and along with the seats. You see if you like that seat or not. Make sure some, fat guy's not blocking your view, whatever. You want to make sure you get that good seat, and GameTime is going to give you the opportunity to do so. Then you're checking out, getting your tickets, whether it's Apple Pay, Google Pay, all major credit card providers, and you save $20 off your first purchase with promo code Seahawks Chat. But that's not all, folks. If you're headed to the big game on Sunday in Las Vegas, the one at Allegiant Stadium, I'm not allowed to say what it's called in this ad read, but you get the idea. The Chiefs and the Niners are playing in it. Yeah, that game. We're offering you $100 off tickets to the big game and use the promo code Vegas100. And you don't have to be a first-time user to get this deal. And I'll even sweeten the pot a little bit more for you here, okay? Hear me out on this, folks. Not only do we have these two deals going on, you can combine them. So if you're going to the big game and you're a first-time user, you can save $125, $120 rather, with both promo codes, Seahawks Chat, as well as Vegas 100. So download GameTime today. Terms and conditions do apply. Link is in the comments and description of today's video. Check out GameTime. You'll be glad you did. Ryan Bosworth checking in. Good to see you, Boz. Do you see Dre'Mont Jones returning after a disappointing year? So this one is gaining some traction in Seahawks circles about just throwing in the towel on Dre'Mont Jones, that the Seahawks are like, don't have a lot of cap space to deal with. Dre'Mont Jones had a disappointing year. Maybe it's time to just count your losses and move on, whether it's cutting him or trading him. I'll say this. I'm a little more optimistic on Dre'Mont Jones. And I think what you are going to see with this Seahawks team, and Dre'Mont Jones is a good example, that what have we told you about the Seahawks defense under Clint Hurt, and then even with Pete Carroll and such, that they had underperformed, that they had underachieved the last couple seasons, and that coaching was the biggest reason why? Maybe Mike Macdonald changes things with Dre'Mont Jones and he plays to his full potential. Maybe it's the same thing with guys like Boye Mafe. Leonard Williams looked really good in the second half of the year, but maybe Mike Macdonald could elevate him that next step, kind of like what he did with Justin Matabuke this past year with the Baltimore Ravens. So I would like to see Dre'Mont Jones come back and to see him take that next step and see what he can do in a different system. What do you guys think, though? Will Dre'Mont Jones be back in 2024? Why for yes and for no? Weigh in. Tell me what you think. Peter writes in, if we don't draft a franchise quarterback, we are looking for, do we panic or do we just wait until next year's draft class to get our franchise quarterback? Question. I think that panic isn't the word I would use. It's kind of just a year-by-year thing, right? Last year, had Anthony Richardson or C.J. Stroud been available when the Seahawks picked at 5, they would have taken either one of those two quarterbacks. Both of them were gone at that point. This year, the board doesn't work out too great for the Seahawks position at 16. I think it is kind of year by year. Your next quarterback you want after Geno, you would hope, is your next young franchise quarterback. I'm not looking to replace Geno with another veteran, but Geno kind of buys you time till you're in position to find that young quarterback. So I wouldn't necessarily say panic. Maybe you are frustrated if you don't find him, but eventually that day will come. Hopefully it is this year, but we'll see. Cincinnati Seahawks writes in, how realistic is Leonard Williams resigning with the Seahawks? Very realistic. I think that deal is going to get done sooner than later. When you look at Leonard Williams, he wants to be in Seattle. The Seahawks staff wants him there as well. We talked in our cut candidates video a couple weeks ago that although the Seahawks don't have a ton of calories, they do have a ton of calories, ton of salary cap space, that a couple moves and all of a sudden you free up $50 million that you can spend and be able to afford a guy like Leonard Williams. So, yeah, I expect him to be back. Another question coming up here. Got time for a couple more here. Do you think we're going to trade for Justin Fields? I'd be surprised. I'd be very surprised. It's going to cost you at least a third-round pick, probably a second. Seahawks don't have a second-round pick. I like Justin Fields a lot. I am a little concerned when it comes to just the lack of winning. I think he wasn't put in a situation to succeed, had an incompetent offensive staff, didn't have a very good O-line there in Chicago. He's a guy that needs a fresh start, but I'd be surprised if Seattle's the team that gives him that start. Although I'm not opposed to it, I'd be surprised, though. The Boskin says, what's the best WWE finishing move ever? Oh, man, there's so many to choose from. Smitty, join me in on this. I mean, I don't know if I can narrow it down to one. Like, so many good options here. The Boskin, I mean, where do I even start? Smitty, where would be your kind of top three?
Top three? I think I got this one here. In no order.
Okay.
I have to think about a third. But definitely two. We got the Stone Cold Stunner.
Yes.
And the Tombstone Pile Driver from The Undertaker.
Okay.
I could also go RKO, Randy Orton. Sweet Chin Music, Shawn Michaels.
Ooh.
Pedigree, Triple H. Keep in mind, guys, we asked our live show to throw in a WWE question.
Yeah, I love the Randy Orton one.
The RKO is great, man.
The RKO is fantastic.
The Spear's always good, too. The Batista Bomb.
Yes. The good old Austin 316.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think there's a wrong answer, but there is a few you like more than others.
Absolutely. I mean, as a big John Cena fan myself, I'm kind of mad because his finisher kind of sucks. So.
Need to work on that, John.
Absolutely.
Boskin, great question. Thanks for joining us here on Seahawks Today. Lock us in for the latest happenings on your favorite team, and we will see you next time right here on Seahawks Today.